For the ones who make over $150,000 a year, what do you do to get that? So, this doesn't help anyone, but it certainly fits. I worked sales for a company that sold ATMs. We hired a new guy first week on the job, a Chinese bank cold call him, and order no joke 20,000 ATMs. The dude got his bonus check and quite. He make over 200,000 that year. That's amazing and hilarious, haha. Orthopedic surgeon, made big sacrifices socially, traveling, income during 20s and early 30s while training. I'm 36 years old, just starting my third year of practice and make $840,000 straight salary. Probably work about 55 hours a week. It's incredibly rewarding, but also very stressful. One of the few professions where I don't feel at all jealous regarding the earnings. Well deserved. Yep, a childhood friend of mine was the son of an orthopedic surgeon. Yes, they were on the richer side of the city and always had fancy cars and a huge home theater. However, on a few times I got to spend with him late at night or at a sleepover with some other kids, I could see why they were that rich. His dad would almost never be at home because he would be paged at odd hours, needing him to go to the hospital to perform or assist in surgery. I always thought it must suck to be my friend. His mom sadly passed a few years earlier, so most of the time he had to spend with a babysitter or at another friend's house. Ship captain, $250,000 for about 180 days of work. 180 days of away from homework, right? It's likely literally 180 days of work. If the boat's on the water, you are working. Even in sleep, you are the first person that needs to be there for whatever is happening. I have a buddy that works fishing in Alaska half the year. I hear nothing from him until he returns. That's what I was thinking. In my job, even if I pull 60-hour weeks now and then, I don't even come close to 4,320 hours away from my wife and kids. I'm in B2B technical sales. I sell industrial starch to paper mills and charcoal plants. Base salary is $135,000 a year. Over the past 5 years, bonus has ranged from $40,000 to $70,000 based off company performance. We mostly hire engineers, or at least people with technical background for our sales roles. Surprised how few answers in here are sales. That's where the money is in every business. It's also brutal. You have a couple of bad quarters and they fire you. You've been in the company for a long time, and your oldest contracts go elsewhere because of things outside of your control. Now you're just a fat goose because your base pay is high, and you're back at square one with the younger employees in the same situation, except they get paid less. Guess who they're laying off when the company has a bad quarter? You also have poor work-life balance because you're constantly brown-nosing clients to maintain and build relationships. It's great if you're young and an extrovert and love going to events with clients. For anyone else, nope. I do transport for a mortuary in the SF Bay Area, picking up dead bodies. My base pay is about $80,000, but I get plenty of extra hours and overtime because I'm pretty much the only one who volunteers to do the SoCal and out-of-state trips. We will only go as far as Nevada, Arizona, Oregon, and the border towns of Mexico. With all the overtime, I easily make over $150,000. I was trying to get into the mortician business, but there isn't much demand in my area. All your jokes are killing me. Pun intended. They all just made my day. Create the demand? Oh yeah, this is a killer idea. Slot game mathematician. You know how they say the games are rigged? I'm the guy that rigs it from math scratch work to the code that runs it. Code looks like pick number 1, 999. If 6, win, else lose. Most places require 1 in 100 mil odds at worst. So more like 99,999,999, but you were close. So you're telling me there's a chance. I'm a fundraising consultant. Anyone who can write well, look into writing grants. It's an incredibly niche skill. Edit. I'm still keeping a lookout in my DMs and chats for unique questions. But just to let you know, a ton of the questions you all have are probably answered in the replies below. From how to get into it to my take on AI in the future. If you have a truly unique question, feel free to reach out still. But know it may take a couple days. Edit 2. I am sorry I didn't make this distinction in my first comment, but a lot of you have asked how I got into this gig. Unfortunately, it was after starting as a $29, $990 a year scrub at a small nonprofit. 5 years after that, I used my expertise and knowledge to go out on my own. But I'll also say this, that last sentence is basically the point. To all of you who are reading this, who aren't even fundraisers, remember, in your current career, you are building expertise and knowledge. And that is a product in and of itself if you convince people it is. Think about the bar rescue guy. He's a bar consultant. You may be a bartender and not even realizing you know how to make a bar run well, and thus, you have that knowledge to sell. I'm not sure how relevant or accurate they are nowadays, but I started reading about independent consulting in high school, class of '08 baby, with books by Alan Weiss. I read The Business of Expertise a few years ago, and it was also a good read. So look that stuff up. Lawyer, USA. Undistinguished academic record from an undistinguished law school. Took me a while to get my first legal job, which I still have. Started at 65,000s. About to start my 4th year at 150,000s. Strictly WFH, no billable requirement. Generally very easy and low stress. Occasionally I get to help people. Can't complain. By the standards of the profession, I am not paid well. By the standards of the profession in my geographic area, it is a fine living. By my standards, grew up rural and pretty poor, I am doing just dandy. The real questions is going to be, do I try to job hop to increase my salary and possibly find more stimulating work too? Or do I just look in the mirror every morning and say, bro, we are so lucky, and use my copious free time for other things? Time is money. So use your present free time to do stimulating things at your own pace while riding out a stress-free environment you've already got. Stay out of the rat race and enjoy life. Air traffic control? I don't think any amount of money would convince me I could actually do that job. I'd be landing planes on top of each other. Well, luckily they train you how to not do that. Reading all these at 30, barely making 20 HRs hurts my soul. 31, making 14, 5 HRs, I'm drowning in school debt. Add 15 years and $1 an hour, and that's me. And I have a second job that pays the same, 65 hours per week, and I'm barely scratching 50,000s. Don't do drugs, kids. I'm sober now. Field service technician. Travel 300 days a year with a 50-pound suitcase and 50 pounds toolbox troubleshooting and fixing industrial equipment. Sounds awful, no offense. Not who you replied to, but I left it for a $50K pay cut and I traveled half the time, this person says. Not worth it. Lineman. Applied for an apprenticeship after I got my CDL. Rest is history. Pay varies by OT. Can range anywhere from 170 to 300,000s, depending how much you want to work. Honestly, the fastest way to get there is to job hop. I'm older, and there is no longer a reward for long-term employment. Pensions aren't a thing anymore, and employers don't give a shit to retain you. Leverage a new job for better pay. Also, don't be afraid to apply for jobs where you don't meet 100% of the qualifications. Those things are a wish list for employers, and I recommend you shoot your shot. Those last 2 sentences hit hard. I passed on applying for something because it had a technical requirement I didn't know. One of my colleagues, who is significantly less technical than me, went for and got it. A few years later, and she's basically one step below C-suite, and I am not. She's a good friend, so I'm happy for her, but fuck, man. I still think about that shit, and it was years ago. I applied for a welding position that basically required me to have years of experience with every metal, every position, every type of welding, high on buildings, in cramped quarters. If there's more, I'll think of it. I got the job, and all I do is stainless and mild steel TIG welding on a welding bench in an air-conditioned shop. Sometimes they throw some aluminum at me. In my specific case, someone other than who actually worked with the welders made the requirement list, and they just copy-pasted a high-end welding position requirement list off of Google. I'm a steam fitter. Basically, I build industrial piping systems. Moved up the ladder after I got my license, and now with all the OT on the jobs I run, I make somewhere around 200,000s. Very nice. That sounds like a job where you need to have a lot of expertise plus experience in the field. I think we can say you're a pro at laying pipe. I just had to, but no joke, nice. 5-year apprenticeship in Ontario. I did 156,000s last year as a sheet metal worker, foreman. Went back to school at 27 for electrical engineering. After I graduated, I felt like I had the momentum to keep going, so I got my master's. I was able to land 3 different internships starting about my junior year, which helped gain me some experience in the field. Graduated at 34 and landed a job at Apple. Been here ever since. I was 29 when I went back for chemical engineering, was almost 32 when I graduated again. 2008 happened and the job market was shit, so I went into environmental, got my PE, IT manager. Consultants tell me what needs to be done. I say, okay, not my money. Just make sure things are running smoothly. I'm the tech consultant that tells him what to do. I'm also in the over 150,000s category. Please, don't feel pressured to take our advice. We'd like to come back around with the same suggestions every year. And we can't do that if you do everything we recommend. I'm the tech sales guy that sells the software to the consultant that the IT guy makes sure runs smoothly. I am also in the over 150,000s category. If you're not interested right now, don't worry. I'll call you every couple months for the rest of your natural life. Thank you so much for watching. Those who make over $150,000 a year, what do you do to get there? Share your tips in the comments.